Let's move on to Fundamental 4. It can be useful to get comfortable in sharing some of our story. This is the one it took me a long time to master. Sharing something of our personal story can often lead the way to a more informed and supportive relationship with our colleagues and our managers. If they don't know what we need to work well, they won't know how they can help. By thinking about our story in advance, we can choose how much information we share. If you have an invisible disability, you're certainly going to need to learn to share your story with your colleagues. By thinking about our story in advance, we can choose how much information we share. For example, we don't have to share private medical information with work colleagues to be able to tell some of our story, and we'll want to avoid oversharing. Storytelling takes practice, and we should start by thinking about the end result. What do you want people to think, to feel, and to do as a result of hearing your story? For a practical example of this fundamental, let's now hear from Sara Weller, Non-Executive Director of BT Group plc and Virgin Money Group and Chair of the Money and Pension Service, on how she approaches telling her story.
I've gone from a position where I was more or less able to walk with one stick to a position where I'm now more or less a wheelchair user full time. And I have spent a lot of that time trying to talk to myself about how I can position with myself, how I feel about that journey, and then using it to articulate it to other people. When I started that, I was a bit clumsy about it. I wasn't quite sure how much to share, how much not to share, which bits were going to engage with people and which bits were not. So if I explain my story, people will be very supportive. They'll say good things and they'll say, it's amazing that you continue to contribute. It's really valuable to have you here. It doesn't matter that you can't walk and all that sort of stuff. It's all said with a good tone, and actually, I take it in good heart because I know where they're coming from. But equally, because I've managed to dispel any worry they might have had about my condition and how I feel about it, I've given them an indication of how they can help me, so they now feel empowered. Actually, they walk away positive too, and it's learning how to have the conversation in a way that you both come away feeling good about it.
Let's now hear from EY's Mike Zehetmayr on the approach he takes when he's communicating with his colleagues.
It's fascinating using artificial intelligence now.
Yeah.
That I, as somebody who's neurodiverse, maybe not great in representing ideas and concepts in writing, AI is a complete step change. And that, I think, will have a big impact for people like me going forward, particularly younger people who that will become first nature. I'm very open, and I will sit on a call and say, guys, I'm going to need some help. I can't represent this information in a written form because that's not my skill set. Who can help me?